Well, after the success of Big House, a lot of things changed for us. So the Free at Last tour happened. Our band began to grow. And then we started to look ahead to the next record. And one thing I remember is just that there was a lot of pressure for that next record to surpass the previous one commercially, in terms of sales numbers and all that. But also just artistically. We really wanted to make a record that we felt like represented us and that we would be proud of. And so we were gearing up for this next album. And we were on tour with the Newsboys, the Going Public tour, still supporting the previous album. And so a lot of days, during the day, we would set up in our dressing room and have kind of a demo session and create new songs or have someone come in with an idea and start building on that. On that tour, we had Greg Harrington playing drums for us. Greg had been a friend that we had met when he played drums for Jeff Moore in the Distance. And we had stayed friends, and he had worked a lot on the loops and programming on the previous album. And then he played with us on this album. And so he kind of became almost like a part of the band. I mean, he sat in on the demo sessions and really contributed to what the drums do on the record, and ended up playing the drums on the record. And so I remember one day on that tour, we were set up in the dressing room and getting ready to go through and some song ideas. And Mark had this idea for a song called Never Gonna Be As Big As Jesus. After kind of hearing his idea, we immediately thought this could be, potentially be kind of the next radio single, sort of the next Big House on the next album maybe. And so we just started with just trying to come up with a groove, a drum, guitar, bass sort of pattern that was fun and energetic. I believe Will came up with his bass line first, and so we just kind of found the beat and the feel we wanted for the song, and Will's playing a simple bass line that just goes. And so I was trying to find something that would complement that and sort of give it that same kind of groovy rock feel that Big House had. As we're jamming along, I began to play this. And that became kind of the main guitar riff. The song starts with drums and bass, and then the guitar comes in, and then the verse, and the verse is sung over that. There are some chord changes it goes through that I'll show you when I play through the whole song. We got to the chorus, and he kind of explains what he wants the chorus to be. As he sang those words, it occurred to me that most songs tend to get bigger at the chorus, kind of a lift in the music and more energy, but there are some songs that really do the opposite. The verse is kind of cruising along, and then it sort of drops down on the chorus. And as he sang that, that just felt right to me. It felt like, this is a song that should come down when he begins to sing that. And I suggested that, and the guys liked that idea. That's the way we went. And so the song really drops down quite a bit on the chorus and then begins to build back up. Another part of the song is right after the solo. It goes into kind of a breakdown sort of thing that goes like this. And then back into the pre-chorus like that. The solo was very improvised in the studio. I don't even remember every note of it exactly, but I do remember the idea of playing kind of these two-note double stop kind of things, but really fast like this. Right, so. That sort of thing. There was no rhythm guitar under the solo. I remember that. It's just drums, bass, and some organ, I believe, is there, and the solo. And that's all that's there. It's very stripped down, just like a band playing. We went in the studio in Memphis, Tennessee in the summer of 1995, and with producer John Hampton. One of the things that John suggested on the verse, when I'm playing that main riff, is that he recorded the guitar with a mic on the amp, which is the usual way to record it, but he also took a direct signal straight off the guitar that's just very clean, and he recorded that separately. And when you listen to the original mix, the amp is on the left and the clean direct guitar is on the right, and so you can actually take out one ear if you're listening on earbuds and hear only the amp or only the direct, and it creates this interesting sound to hear those two separate recordings of the same guitar part, one through the amp and one not. I used lots of different amps and pedals on this album. One of my favorite pedals at the time was a Morley JD10. Was using that a lot live and on demos, and I remember that I used that on this song as kind of the main rhythm sound. And I used that pedal for years until it finally died. And I actually tried twice to buy a replacement on eBay, and I never found one that sounds the same as the original. And so I don't know if I just had a one-of-a-kind, but that was a special sound. The guitar's tuned in drop D, and so you got the low D, and that is how you get the chorus to sound the way it does. And so here we go. Here's Never Gonna Be As Big As Jesus.